Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl and Belly Up Sports. Brand new thing going on, but yes, we are brought to you by Belly Up Sports now. Today's show, Brad Holmes, 5-year deal to be the new GM of the Detroit Lions. Huge news. We're going to give all kinds of information on him so you know who he is, what he's done, where he's been, all that stuff, and then our opinions of him. Also going to talk about head coaching position. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go to your comment cards, the Detroit Lions news and rumors, and the question of the day, and a dessert with Curt, which is really special today. All right. So now I'm going to bring in my main man, the man of steel himself, Curt Steele. Come on.
What up, dude? Welcome to the show, people. You know who we are. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Hey, you know what you need to do. Join the family. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and do that. And don't forget, 11 a.m. right here, same bat time, same bat channel, Monday through Fridays. We have our premieres of our shows, so you can join us right there. You can join the chat, or if you want to get your comment right up front, right where you want it to be, you can join the super chat. And that's always a good thing. And you know what you got to do. If you do that, you have to ring that notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here on the show, and comment on the videos, like the videos, share the videos. All of this helps us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. Let's get this thing started
right now.
Let's go. Welcome back to the show, people. It is time for the big news of the day. Into the main chorus, Detroit Lions hire Brad Holmes as the next GM and executive vice president of the Detroit Lions. So let's really quick. According to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, the Detroit Lions have agreed to a 5-year deal with the former Los Angeles Rams director of college scouting, Brad Holmes. Now, we know this because guess what? The Lions announced the deal on Thursday itself. Yes, they did. After their second interview. So Holmes is the nephew of Luther Bradley, Detroit's first-round pick back in 1978. I think I was 6 years old back then. Yeah, I was. And the son of former defensive Pittsburgh offensive lineman Mel Holmes.
I was 9.
He's 41 years old and graduated from North Carolina A&T State, right down here where I'm from, up the road. Aggie Pride up there with North Carolina A&T State Aggies. All right, he becomes the second Black general manager in team history, following Martin Mayhew, who was the team's general manager from 2009 to 2015. All right, he began as a public relations intern in 2003 with the Ram, moving over to the scouting side and working his way up as the role of director of college scouting with the Ram. Now he was replacing the lowly Bob Quinn, who was fired by the Lions in November after almost 5 years of futility on the job. Wilbert Montgomery, who was a former running back and is the Lions assistant who helped Holmes catch on as a scouting intern, compared Holmes to the legendary ex-Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns general manager, the first iteration of the Cleveland Browns, Ozzie Newsome. Newsome was the NFL's first Black general manager. He built the Ravens into a 2-time Super Bowl champions. Holmes, as one of the at least 12 candidates at the Lions interview for their GM position after firing the lowly Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia in November. What else you got there
let's get into what the Lions are saying about this, because Rod Wood came out and said throughout our search for the new general manager, Brad was someone who stood out immediately. His abilities as a critical thinker, along with his extensive experience implementing technology and analytics into his approach to scouting, were among the many decisive qualities Brad displayed in our time getting to know him during the interview process. We look forward to him helping lead our organization as we take the next steps as a team. Sheila Ford Hamp says in her statement, several weeks ago, we embarked on this process. It was critical that we find the right person to fit our vision for the team. It was evident early on that Brad is a proven leader who is ready for this opportunity. Holmes joins Quinn, Martin Mayhew, and Matt Millen as first-time GMs. The other ones didn't work out so well, but I liked Martin Mayhew. I thought he was okay.
Yeah, Martin Mayhew did an okay job in Detroit.
Players Holmes. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but he was better than his other two.
For sure.
Yeah.
Players Holmes had drafted NFL Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald. There's a story on that we'll get into in a little bit. Cooper Kupp, wide receiver. Tyler Higbee, tight end. Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, John Johnson, who another guy we might get into a little bit. Samson Ibukam. Yeah, all people that he said, I can't remember the exact number, but I know it's over 20 Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, over 20 Pro Bowlers and 20 All Pros as well.
Okay, yeah, so one thing that I really took from this was what Rod Wood said about his critical thinking. That's the first thing. But implementing technology and analytics. So he's an analytics guy. He's a Moneyball guy. Not sure that's something I like so much, but he's really good at drafting in like the later rounds and stuff like that. I like that. And there's a bunch of stuff about him I kind of like. I think
from what I've read is that the one thing he is with analytics, it's not the sole basis of how he scouts and drafts. So it's a portion. Like he's not one of those guys. He puts everything into analytics, but it's a factor. So you can take that with a grain of salt. Where he's like, okay, sometimes it's the eye test. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the analytics, but sometimes it's the eye test. Somebody like Aaron Donald passes the eye test. You don't have to do a whole bunch of analytics on somebody like Aaron Donald.
No, you don't.
Aaron Donald, he passes the eye test. And for him to go and over to Pittsburgh and scout that guy, that is, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Aaron Donald, I mean, that is right there was for him to go and scout and draft that guy.
Right.
I mean, that just shows you the amount of scouting talent that he has as a, because before that draft, I mean, some people were like, oh yeah, Aaron Donald, but he was doing that before anybody really knew who Aaron Donald was on the college landscape. So
he's the one who found him.
Yeah. So
he was said to the rest of the team. He said to the team, he said, "Man, you got to check this guy out for Pittsburgh. He's pretty good." Yeah. He was the first guy that discovered Aaron Donald.
But look at Cooper Kupp was like a one of those hidden gems, and Higbee. And Gurley and out in the University of Georgia was one of the guys that passed the eye test.
Not sold on Goff, to be honest.
Goff, you know what though? He got him to a Super Bowl. He's John Johnson's a hell of a safety. I will say that. Well,
I'll say this too. There's a rumor about John Johnson that he may be headed out of LA, and with his relationship with us, Brad Holmes, it's a possibility we could get him.
Man, that'd be a good pairing with him back in the back end with
Walker.
With Tracy Walker. That'd be good, and because they're kind of interchangeable. They can disguise a lot of coverages where they both play a similar style. They both can play in the box, and they both can play back there free roaming at free safety. So they can just kind of really disrupt offenses by the type of coverage that they can play with each other.
My gut feeling on this guy is it's a good hire. My drawbacks, he does not have GM experience. It's a big leap from where he was to where he is. He wasn't even the assistant GM. So it's the same jump as Quinn and Matt Millen, and those two did not work out at all. So that's one of my things that I have pause on. Some of the players he's drafted, Jared Goff, I don't particularly think he's great. There's some players that he missed on too. But you always got that, and every guy
everybody misses on somebody.
He's a young guy. He's 41 years old. That's just pretty young for a GM. But he has Spielman there with him. He has, a community. They've built like a community of people to surround him. My thing is, I am very interested in who the head coach is going to be now.
Yeah. And one thing with that selection process, that one of the guys that is actually going to stay on with the Lions, and I don't know if that's in our news and rumors or not, is Disner is going to stay on.
Disner is going to stay. That is not in our news and rumors. We can talk about that.
Disner's going to stay on as our capologist, and that's going to help immensely because Disner is one of the best in the league.
He really is
at doing that and making sure that we have enough money to in the cap to make good decisions in free agency and drafting. So that is definitely something that I look forward to with that assistance from Mike Disner. That's a very good thing to fall back on for Mr. Holmes himself. I understand your hesitancy with the lack of GM experience. I know a lot of Lions fans wanted an experienced GM. They didn't want the next hot new guy. But looking at some of his credentials and how people are viewing him around the league, if he can be half the GM that Ozzie Newsome was, then I think we're going to be put in a very good position, just because of the fact that if you look at, what Ozzie Newsome built there at Cleveland / Baltimore, he was that last, those last runs that the actual first iteration of the Browns were making under Bill Belichick, Ozzie Newsome was the GM. So
yes.
And then they just moved with the franchise over to Baltimore. But look at that. I mean, look, they weren't in Baltimore long before they became a Super Bowl champion.
Parts of me said, just get Ozzie Newsome then.
yeah. Sometimes you want you know what though? I will say this, get the real thing. But I will say this. There is something about getting a little bit younger, and a little bit more where you're in tune with how the league is operating now. So I think that's a wise step in that concern with the hire of Brad Holmes, where you want to kind of get where the pulse of the league is right now, instead of a person who has a pulse of the league a few years ago. So the league has changed. The way the league operates is different now. I mean, think about just how the league's going to operate coming up in this upcoming offseason, where the way the league operates just because of COVID is totally different.
True. That's absolutely true.
And it's just going to be where you have to have someone who's adaptable to that. And you sometimes you don't get that with someone who's an older candidate.
I like the hire overall. I like his drafts. He's never made a free agent move that I know of. So I don't know how he's going to be in bringing free agents here. But that's a couple things that give me pause. So overall, do I like the move? Yes. Would I have liked somebody a little more experienced? Yes. But it is what it is. We're done with the search now.
Now, one thing that's going to play a key factor, and I think you will agree with me on this. One thing that will be the key factor in free agents coming to Detroit is who's going to be the next head coach.
I agree.
Are you going to bring someone in who players are want to come play for? So that is going to be a big decision where Holmes has a big decision on his hands, but he's going to have help from people like Chris Billman and Mike Disner and Barry Sanders, and looking at the next head coach coming up shortly.
Do you think he's going to make that decision? Or do you think that's still Spielman in the gang?
I think he's still going to be involved, because from what Rod Wood has said, that every GM candidate that they interviewed, they discussed who the next head coach and who was on the list for the next head coach was going to be. So he's going to be involved in that search.
But it's not going to be his decision, you think?
I don't know. I don't know if he be his decision alone, but he will be involved in the decision. I think the Lions have taken that, kind of a group, and
I think they're going to do that too.
The decision making, like as a kind of panel, where it's just going to be like, okay, these are the guys. Let's go over them again. And then you're going to have guys coming in for second interviews. I know we have Arthur Smith coming in here soon, and maybe Bowles, but Arthur Smith is a name that, that I like.
Me too.
I like the run game that he brings in now that Salah is off the table.
Yep.
And one guy that we haven't discussed that, I mean, again, since we really talked about him, is Mr. Bieniemy still out there.
He is still out there.
He is still out there.
I think he's still out there because of the fact that everybody's trying to, the teams that fired people, they also fired their GM. So that search is going on first. And then, I think at least.
Yeah. And plus he's in the playoffs. So they can't actually really hire him to after, their seasons. Because to be honest with you, I don't see Kansas City not making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. See unless there's a big upset.
Yeah, there's got to be a huge upset for them not to, But the one team, now that's just not live related. The one team I see that can do it, it depends on how they do this weekend. The Ravens can shock the world.
Ravens could. Yes, they could.
That run game is serious.
And the quarterback's good. The defense is good.
They're on a revenge tour.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how they did Tennessee, because they were embarrassed by Tennessee in that overtime win, and how Tennessee embarrassed them in last year's playoffs. They're on a revenge tour right now.
Yes,
they're on a revenge tour. So watch out for those guys. But hey, this is a Lions show, but that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But fine. You know what? I'm just excited about the Brad Holmes hire. Yesterday was my birthday, and the Lions gave me a GM for a birthday present. So
there you go.
Lions. I appreciate it.
On a side note, Dave Burkett always said that his daughter was in some kind of thing yesterday that he had to be at, or he wanted to be at. He said, "I know they're going to make the thing today because they always do that to me." And sure enough,
his daughter's some kind of practice she had. Yeah, I remember reading that. He was like, "They always do it when I have to be somewhere with my daughter. I have to go do that work." Yes.
Let's get to your comment cards right now and start out with Lionized and Dazed. What a really good name. Stafford gets it done in crunch time. There's none better. Think back when Scott Mitchell was the quarterback. Isn't Stafford so much better? I think so. Put Stafford on that team in the 90s and we win a Super Bowl, or at least win more playoff games. No, you know what? I agree with that. You put him with Barry Sanders in that defense. Baby. That would have been a nice day.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a good offensive line then, though. So I don't know.
No, we didn't. All right. King SJ says, "Happy birthday, Curt. Congratulations, guys, on the upcoming changes. Keep up the good work." Hey, we appreciate it, man. I appreciate that birthday wishes, King SJ. It was a great day yesterday.
Keno Brown. God, I can't say that name. Please help us with that name. Barry Sanders basically described Jim Caldwell. Barry Sanders went into a thing yesterday of what they were looking for in the head coach, and he did. He basically did describe Caldwell in not so many words, but yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Big Frank 311 says, "Happy birthday, Curt. Holmes hired to be GM for a 5-year deal." And here is another caveat yesterday on the birthday thing. Not only was it my birthday, but it was DeAndre Swift's birthday as well. So happy birthday, young fella. Birthday twins for myself is none other than DeAndre
That's
Swift.
Crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Justin Tenkate says audio version. Yes. And we will be getting that audio version to you very soon. We'll have an announcement about that as soon as we have anything for you to point you to that direction. We're going to do that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Last one. L. Robert be bringing it, man.
Yes, he is.
He said, "I really appreciate the concise and to the point analysis you two put out. I get more information from your show than some that go on for hours. Keep up the good work."
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate that comment, man. We appreciate all the love. Thank you very much, L. Robert Kendall. And, we do this show. We're Lions fans, and we do a show for Lions fans. And we want to bring you the most educated and up-to-date information in a way that you guys, for you guys. So, we try to bring it to you so you guys can get it and understand it. And we don't try to just linger on it. It's time to, you hit that comment or hit that piece of information, you keep it moving.
That's right. And speaking of keeping moving, we're going to go to today's segment, the Detroit Lions news and rumors. Number 1 on the docket today, report New York Jets to hire Robert Saleh. You can cross him off of our head coaching list, to the chagrin of some of our Lions fans here.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. He got a 5-year deal as well over at the New York Jets.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Sometimes it's not, sometimes people don't want to go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
They left home for a reason.
Yeah.
They don't want to go home. So,
or maybe that interview, there was rumors out there that the interview did not go well with Robert Saleh and the Lions. Is it possible that that's why he decided to go elsewhere? I don't know.
Hey, and we had a little bit of inside information that, to be honest with you, he took the interview, but this was a few months ago, that he wasn't really looking at coming back home to Detroit to coach the Lions. So, so head coaching shirts. All right. So we have some completed interviews. We had Marvin Lewis, Eric Bieniemy, Darrell Bevel, Salah's off the table, Dan Campbell, and Arthur Smith. Scheduled interviews was scheduled for today is one Mr. Todd Bowles. You remember him. He was the lowly coach of the New York Jets, but now he is the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know he's getting ready for a playoff game this weekend. So the second interviews actually also today will be Arthur Smith. He is the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, and he's a hot coaching name out there right now.
Yeah, let's discuss this a little bit. Arthur Smith comes in, second interview. I don't think he leaves the building. I don't. I think they hire him today or tomorrow. I do think that Darrell Bevel has a chance, even though everybody has said, he wouldn't be a great coach. I think he has a chance. Marvin Lewis obviously has a chance, but I think they want to get this thing done. And a second interview for Arthur Smith. If they're looking at Eric Bieniemy, it's going to be a while.
Now, I will say this about the Arthur Smith deal. The only thing that there's another name out there that we haven't really talked about.
That's true. That's true.
And it's the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams, and he has connections to Brad Holmes. It's Brandon Staley, leader of the number one defense in the league right now. And the interesting thing about him is that actually he started on Sean McVay's staff on the offensive side of the ball, and he took over as defensive coordinator this year. So if you look at that, coming from that system, he knows how to coach both sides of the ball. So he has a inkling of how to get stuff done on both sides. So he is an interesting candidate as well. He's not this kind of pigeonhole to either one side of the ball or the other. So he has complete control or knowledge of both sides of the ball. So Brandon Staley is another name to look out for. I'm not sure if we're going to schedule him for an interview or if the Rams are even going to allow us to interview him, because you have to request for the interview. So it's one of those things, but that's another name to look out for, Brandon Staley out of the LA Rams.
I think he's late to the party. I do. I think if they were interested in him, they would have had him in the first set of interviews. Just because Holmes is here, I'm not sure that changes things for who they're looking for. Well, like you said, I think it's going to be a committee decision, but they haven't even interviewed the guy yet. And they're on a second interview with Arthur Smith.
Yeah. Now that's one thing. If we can get someone like Arthur Smith to come in and revamp our offense, especially with the run game, that will go a long way to fixing some of the issues that we've had and open up the offense for one Mr. Matthew Stafford.
Yep. The Lions signed 3 more players to futures contracts. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, wow, he came in and made a move right away. I am not sure this is Holmes.
No.
Made this move. I'm kind of thinking this was the committee that made this move.
Yeah.
So pump the brakes on that's his first move.
Yeah.
We got cornerback Godwin. I'm going to butcher his last name. Igwe, something or another. Defensive end Robert McCray and Hunter Thedford have all signed with the team. Now, take this with a grain of salt. We need 90 bodies to be in camp.
Yeah, future contracts are about getting their bodies in for camp. They have. You hardly ever see a person on a futures contract actually make the 56-man roster.
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes, but it's very rare that they do. Very rarely they do. Next up, we have the coach from the team from down south, Urban Meyer, former head coach of that team. Has now been named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yay!
Yes, for
I
us,
did not want him at all.
did not want him in the Honolulu Blue and Silver. That was never a guy I wanted in Detroit. Now, here's my caveat, and I heard this yesterday listening to NFL XM Radio. There is a kind of a feeling that, it's a grain of salt hire with Urban Meyer. Because if you look at him over his coaching career, stressful situations really kind of put his body into some shock. He's had health issues after some stressful times in the coaching area. So look at the not in Florida, the scandals, and next thing you know, his body was breaking down and he, retired. Same thing happened up in Ohio State. The thing happened with the one of his former coordinators, and with the domestic violence thing. And once that thing kind of hit, it was all, his body was breaking down and he had to retire. So and the NFL grind on the body is much more worse in the NFL game than it is the college game. So that's just one of those things to kind of watch out for with that hire for Jacksonville.
Yep. Sort of bad news. I don't know. I don't like to report on this stuff, but it is in the news. Detroit Lions running back Adrian Peterson ordered to pay $8.3 million to a loan company, record show. I get this vision of MC Hammer and them taking all this stuff away on that one commercial. I don't know. I hope not. D'Angelo Vehicle Sales LLC sued Peterson in 2018 after the running back failed to pay an initial sum of $5.2 million, including interest. By March 1st, 2017, the interest in 2018, when the case was filed in the New York Supreme Court. DVS has asked for $6.5 million and then continued interest to every day he didn't pay. That was over 2 years ago. On Wednesday, they're asking for They raised him $3 million in late fees. $3 million in late fees.
What are you buying at a vehicle sale LLC for $5.2 million? What vehicle are you buying for $5.2 million?
I don't know, unless he bought a few.
Sweet gee, you bought several for $5.2 million.
They want $8.2 million, which is continued interest at 2.2% or $2,207 a day. This goes up as long as he doesn't repay it. The interest rate has been 16% is lowered to 9%, which is the New York state law going forward. You know what? I hate to say this, but my goodness, people get screwed in this country. I know he didn't pay it, but my goodness, $3 million in late fees. That is just corporate greed, man. That is greed.
You buying for five? And what are you buying for? Well, you know what, though? I'll say this, those are rich people problems.
Is a rich people problem. You got that right. You got that right.
I don't have that. I don't have those type of problems.
Me neither. More money, more problems.
Yeah.
Anyway, question of the day. Who do you think will be the next head coach of the Detroit Lions? Who do you got? Let's start a poll. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
At least a poll. But who do you think will be the Lions' next coach? Is it Arthur Smith? Is it all these guys, man, Marvin Lewis, and just who do you, let's do this too. Who do you think will be the next coach because you think the Lions will screw it up? And then who do you want as the next head coach? That might be a better way of putting all that. And now we come to the portion of the show that I like the best, and that is the Dessert with Curt.
Okay, it is time for some tasty morsel, people, and let's get some insight into Mr. Brad Holmes himself. Now, here's the deal with him because of the fact that here's his mindset. So Holmes has what he wants to adhere for his players. Now in LA, he had a Ram standard. Okay, so his Ram standards was having players who are good teammates and are relentless, as well as smart players who are instinctive and explosive. So those are the type of people that he is trying to bring to Detroit.
Absolutely. That's
really smart, thing, instinctive, explosive.
I want this to work.
And relentless.
I want this to work.
I want this to work. If he can bring those type of players to the Lions, because he did bring some of those type of players out to the Rams. Look at how fast their team plays.
Yes.
The Rams play pretty fast, except for Goff, who runs about a 5.8 40. The rest of the team plays pretty fast. So
yes, they do. So another thing that we're going to have coming up is membership opportunities for the Detroit Lions on the Prowl YouTube channel. We will be launching that fairly soon, so be watching out for that. That's going to get you some live content with us, some question and answers for those that are members only. And we'll give you the information on how to do that probably sometime next week. Just wanted to make that announcement. But thank you, everybody, for rocking with us. There's so many big changes going on here at Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Just amazing times. And we really appreciate it because we couldn't have done it without you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Hey, we couldn't have done it without you. Big changes, and thank you to those guys for over at Belly Up for giving us a chance to join their platform. Hey, we really appreciate it. Mike and Blaine over there and Jade and all those guys over there, we really appreciate you bringing us on to the stable and to the roster that you have over there at Belly Up. And another thing, I did read through the comments yesterday, and I want to send my gratitude out for all of the wonderful birthday wishes yesterday. Even though we didn't read them in the show, I did get them, and I appreciate you guys wishing me a happy birthday. It means a lot to hear that from my Detroit Lions on the Prowl family. Okay, and you know what you guys to do. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl. You know who we are. We are your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Subscribe to the channel. Join the family. Like the video, share the videos, comment on the videos, answer the question of the day. And don't forget, 11 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here for the premieres. Join us. Join the chat. If you want your comments right up front, do the super chat. And that gets that where you want it to be. Now, you know what you got to do, baby. Whatever you do in life, you got to boss up. Ball out and be the best version of you that you can be. From my man Jim, right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl, this is Curt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.